Welcome back to the Sports Complex on a Friday. On the show today, we're going to do some Cowboys talk. We'll get into a little Astros and Rangers, and we'll tell you about the Mariners because Astros and Rangers have to deal with the Mariners. We'll continue a conversation from Hook 'em Up with Ian Robbie this morning. Give you a little preview of college football. It starts tomorrow, everybody. It starts tomorrow. The waiting is over for college football. It starts tomorrow. I'm so excited. Get to watch some games tomorrow. And a little preview of what to watch for tomorrow in the NFL preseason because that's not really there, but the NFL's not there. But we'll get to it. As always, I'm your host, Patrick Davis. You can follow me online at It's Patrick Davis. You can join the conversation. 512-337-3776 is the Specs text line. 512-337-3776. And joining me today, because we're going to take things loose on a Friday, have a good time rolling into the weekend. The man you know from all the social media content and videos and all that happens here on the Horn. Jacob Standard is here.
Yeah, how you doing today, Patrick? I don't know if everybody knows me from the social media videos, but I do have a pretty heavy hand in putting those together.
You do have a heavy hand. We had a fun one yesterday with Ty getting hurt.
That was the best part, was the injury, and then a couple clips where he took off running and everything in his pockets went flying.
Yes,
but
it was good. I was always happy. If you could have heard how cocky Ty was before the run, it made the rest of it that much better. When we're walking out there and he's like, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'll break 5. I don't know. Maybe I'll break 5. I'm like, dude, if you break 6, I'll be impressed.
As we got closer, he talked himself into 5.5.
Yeah.
And then it got closer and closer. And so I think 6.43 is pretty accurate, what he ran it in. I don't know that I could do any better.
I know I couldn't. I'm fully aware. We discussed it. This was that there was a point in my life, and I don't know, it was a long time ago because I know I was downtown. That's how I know it was a long time ago. And I was leaving a club, and it was cold, and I'm walking back to the club, and it starts to rain, and the rain picks up, and naturally, I just go to run back to the parking garage where my car is, and as I run, I get a few steps into it, and I immediately realize that running is not a thing in my life anymore.
At least not at that speed.
No, just running in general. And it was running, and then it was, I understood how women feel running, and I did not have my bro or man zero on me that day.
Yeah.
So there was just an amount of jiggling that I was not comfortable with. And it was just like, cool, I guess I just get wet from here on out. The rain, I just walk. And it also taught me how speed walking was invented. Because speed walking is the least jiggly of the fast movements.
Oh, you can keep everything nice and contained. That's why they pin their elbows.
Yeah, because it's all about just not jiggling when you move. And it was somebody who it started to rain, and then they were like, I got to get to my car as fast as possible. I know I look like an idiot, but this is the only way to do it that is not terrible for me. And so it's like, and that's like how pickleball was somebody was like, well, I like playing tennis, but I also don't like moving. And then they were like, well, here's pickleball. And they're like, well, I'm pretty good at it, so I'm going to make it a sport. That's all of these things are just somebody who doesn't want to do a sport faking it, and then somebody who's way more athletic ruining it for everybody else by trying to make it a thing.
So what's our unathletic sport that we're going to make millions off of? Because the pickleball guy is doing pretty good now, I would imagine.
The pickleball guys, like we just need to make up like a horse game or something like that because I was like, I'll play horse in basketball because I don't want to move.
Yeah.
Like getting rebounds, the worst part of horse.
Right, yeah. We have to figure out something that the best athlete can't win. Right?
Yeah, you have to have the handicap. But I feel like the best tennis players could dominate at pickleball.
I don't know, man. There's a lot of touch and skill to it.
You're right. They don't have touch and skill.
Well,
you're right. Djokovic, no touch and skill there.
The weight differential in the paddle,
No, I know it would take them time to learn it. Like they wouldn't be the best in the world at it day 1. But I bet like day 7 they'd be a top 5 player.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty accurate, I would imagine.
So yeah, we need to find like all these sports, like speed walking. If Usain Bolt wanted to speed walk, he'd probably be pretty good at it.
Yeah, I could see that. Although I don't think Usain Bolt's pretty worried about jiggling when he's moving.
No, he's not. That's why he doesn't speed walk. That's what I'm saying. But yeah, just to let you know, so props to Ty for doing it.
Oh yeah, that's the important part.
He is the one guy at the office who would do it. I was not. Yeah, they asked. I said my dog Lou, my dog Lou, the official mascot of the sports complex. because he was the unofficial mascot of Ball Don't Lie.
Oh.
But now, because they had other dogs, they didn't want to make the other dog, Harge's dog and Rod's dogs feel bad. So he is the dog of the sports complex. So he is the official dog of the sports complex.
I feel honored.
I do want to get into some Cowboys talk with you, Jacob, because I know you've multiple times come into the office now and told me I said something on the show that you are not thrilled with it.
Yeah.
You're not thrilled with my take, or that my take was too believable. Is that, I believe, what word you used?
Yes. The all of your comments about Mike McCarthy sounding defeated before the season has started. That is, I wasn't even considering that, and then I listened to it with that perspective in my ear.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't sound great.
I've also told you that what I think of Mike McCarthy when he talks, because he's usually out of breath by question one, is I have Mike McCarthy you remember the hypnotist from the Office Space? The guy who dies that's how Mike McCarthy sounds, and he's going to give a presser. He may not be the coach because of that. He had a medical event and is no longer the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. I don't think that'll be the case. But Dak Prescott did speak to the media yesterday.
Yes, he did.
And Dak Prescott, at least his pressers sound better than Mike McCarthy's. And for the most part, because Mike McCarthy, every once in a while you get something out of Mike McCarthy that he actually is admitting something, or he'll say something that's interesting. But most of the time, Mike McCarthy's just like, well, this is why we do it, because we can. And then, you know what? It could work the other way. Like, his whole thing on why he doesn't play starters was basically like, well, I've had starters hurt, so we're not going to do that anymore. You're like, well, is that the only reason?
So that rules it out forever?
That's basically, and he was like, well, if I had younger players, I would do it. And you go, you do have some younger players.
You definitely do.
Like, CeeDee Lamb's not an old guy, and I get he's been on the team and starter and your running back has never been a starter in the NFL, like, at that level.
That's a big one.
And he's coming off an injury, and Dak Prescott is coming off his worst year. You might want to give him some reps. All of these things, and you're calling plays now. It would make me think that you might want to have a few reps, just a few, just to try and get the kinks out before it airs. Because I know we run programs here on the radio station, and basically we will try everything in our power to make sure they will run smoothly when they happen.
Yeah, you troubleshoot all the issues before they come up.
And inevitably, something will come up, and our board operator will come and call me and go, hey, by the way, this spot that's supposed to be this is something else, and you just assumed that it was going to be right, but it's not. And that's something of where that, and they go, well, I assumed you weren't going to get mad at me for calling this audible, or I thought I could option into this play, and I didn't realize until we saw this look that that's what I wanted to option into, because I didn't think because our defense didn't
Yeah, there's certain scenarios that happen in a game that you can't recreate at practice.
Yeah.
And it's like you said, you made a comment the other day, you don't know what it's like to really try to get away from someone until someone's really chasing you.
Yeah. And that's where Tony Pollard, and Tony Pollard too, preseason is not going to matter a ton, because in reality, the one question we really have for Tony Pollard is, can he handle the full workload? And you're not going to give him that in preseason anyway.
Right.
So the one major question is, can he keep up an average when he is the main back? And especially if we're also talking about pass pro with all those guys and rotating guys in and out of the lineup. And if there's going to be do you have running backs? Is Rico Dowdle or Malik Davis, when they come in the game, are they only there on pass plays and pass protection, and they know they're not going to run the ball, and you run it maybe twice a game? Because that way the defense is going to, I know you can sit and do the, Sark is very guilty of this, but a lot of coaches are. Well, we're setting something up. We're setting something up, and you go,
man.
Yeah, but we also punted the ball 4 times for you to set up a play that may or may not work.
Yeah, it scored us 1 touchdown. We went down 4 in the course of the setup.
Yeah, so that's and a lot of coaches do it, and I mean that's an exaggeration of 4 punts, but
sure.
Yes, that is where you go. You gave up 5 or 6 plays to set up one play that has a 30% success rate.
Awesome.
And if it works, it's great. And then sometimes you get to that play, and you look at the defense and go, well, get out of that play. they knew what we were doing anyway.
Yeah, all that setup we did, hey, they're on to it.
Yeah, and I mean, a play like that where you say, well, we're going to put him in pass pro, 90% of the time, and 10% will run him, and hopefully one of those he'll break. But if it's Rico Dowdle and Malik Davis, is that break 7 yards?
Yeah, it might be. 15 is a big day.
So. I don't know. But we said Dak Prescott was talking to the media, and the question has kind of come up more, I think, is because it is getting to be the time of the year where there's not really a ton happening. Everybody's waiting for Tuesday for the cuts to maybe get some more material.
Yeah.
But this is also the time of year where when Stephen A. Smith is starting to get people are starting to call him out for lying multiple times in a week, that we've really gotten to a very slow period. But one of the topics has been about the drought for the Cowboys. And is this team going to be, and it's a consistent conversation for Cowboys fans,
unfortunately,
is this going to be the year? Here's Dak Prescott on does the conversation about the drought of winning, getting into the playoffs, getting to conference games, getting to Super Bowls, does that drought put extra pressure on this team? Do they have an extra pressure because of the drought? And here's Dak Prescott's response.
I think we, at the end of the day, we've got to put the pressure is what you put on yourselves. And so, I think at the end of the day, we got to understand that our standard is win. Simple as that. And we hold ourselves to a high standard and high expectations. And so nobody wants to end this drought more than the guys in this locker room. I can promise you that. And so for us, it's about making sure that we know our identity. We believe in our identity as a team. We go out there, we play complementary football on all three levels. And I think if we do that, just from what we've built on the offseason to the training camp to now, it's promising.
That's Dak Prescott. At the drought, we don't worry about that. You should. You should. Because it does, and I get at a certain point you have to step aside from everything, and all that matters is game week to week.
Right.
But if you want to sell me that you're really focused on we're going to win a Super Bowl or bust, this is what we need to do, and this is the bar, this is the standard, you continue to hear them say the standard for Dallas Cowboys football, and you're like, well, so then you basically are telling us that the standard hasn't been met for 25 years.
Yeah, exactly.
And
I haven't seen a team even make it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, so I don't like the phrase "the standard" when he uses it there. I get you want to take it week by week. So it's just this is where Dak starts to get more into his coach speak. I'm not going to say we don't know about it. You should know about it.
Right,
because it's going to be the biggest conversation in football, and at least in Dallas fans' eyes. The other conversation though is going to be that he threw too many picks last year, and he was asked about has he worked on with the play calling, with everything going on, forcing throws over the middle. Is he going to try? Is he worked on not forcing throws and finding checkdowns and finding because he wants to get in trouble? Here's Dak on him forcing throws.
Sometimes I just talk to talk. I don't know how much that's been.
Huh?
Yeah, exactly. If anybody understands, I know it's him. That just goes into this defense, to be honest with you. I don't know that's something that's been heavily emphasized, but it's just go back and look at last year and you look at some of the turnovers, you can say, yeah, you're forcing them there. You know what I'm saying? That was higher risk than reward. And in that sense, when you have a defense like this, it's just about, understand they're going to get you the ball back. And so just stay within the play when that shot's called and that look is ideal for that. Yeah, take advantage of it. But if not, just get through the progression. As I said, use my feet, check it down, live to play another play. And I think that just goes in hand with his play calling and that play calling purpose, as well as understanding who I've got around me, just not only on the offensive side, but as I said, the defense to get the ball back.
That is, it's the play calling of Mike McCarthy, which is I'm going to call a game very conservatively.
And he should.
And this is where Dak is going to have to step up and understand that sometimes you are going to have to force it and knowing when to. And knowing that you have the ability to, and you're hoping that adding a Brandon Cooks instead of basically having Jalen Tolbert that wasn't able to do it and Michael Gallup who wasn't able to do it last year, you to add another receiver into that position. And, you have Dalton Schultz that got hurt some last year. Hopefully Ferguson can step up in that role as well. But you were really looking for Dak to understand this play calling is going to be different because Kellen Moore wanted to go for it a lot. And Mike McCarthy, from everything we've seen about what his game plan is to be extremely conservative in the Cowboys offense. And that's great in one sense, but it's not if you're talking about having to pick up first downs when you're behind the chains because you ran up the middle twice with a pass protector.
Right. Well, hopefully they're not trying to pick up long third downs too often.
Hopefully not. And that's what Tony Pollard's got to do.
Right, and he speaks about understanding the identity of this offense now. Well, what is the identity of this offense? We've been told it's going to be a run team, but we didn't add any kind of running backs or anything like that to the roster, so we're just relying on Tony Pollard in the quick game, I assume.
That's the point is you add Deuce Vaughn. So you technically did add a quarterback, so you drafted Deuce Vaughn.
Right.
But I don't know how much Deuce Vaughn's going to actually play. This third preseason game, we'll talk about that in a little bit of what to watch for in preseason. But this is a big game for him to show that week 2 is more the anomaly and not week 1 was the anomaly.
Yeah.
But I think that there's a part for Dak Prescott. He's going to have to learn not that the play calling is going to bail him out anymore, that he needs to take charge, and that the play calling bailed him out his rookie season. Last year, the play calling did not bail him out at all, and he threw into too many interceptions. But knowing if I just throw this way, I'm the check down king again.
Yeah.
And if I play this way, that's how guys play themselves out of the league when their passer ratings are okay and they're, I completed 85% of my passes and we lost.
Yeah.
And that's the problem is if he's going to be a check down king because you're calling a very conservative offense and your guys may not be getting out of breaks or you're just not calling a inventive enough play style, or, I think that there's going to be more rub routes in this Mike McCarthy system to try and get some guys open. But that's one of the things you need a Jalen Tolbert to kind of work on is being able to pick those up without penalties. This O-line, if they're hold together with super glue and gum and duct tape at this point, that if anything happens to any one of these offensive linemen, we know how quick it can start to go downhill.
Yeah. Spirals out of control quickly.
I think there's a part where Dak Prescott has to find this season his own comfort level in the offense that he is not going to get bailed out by these play calls.
Yeah, I would think that's fair to say. I would also note that 2018, when Mike was last calling plays in Green Bay, Devontae Adams was the leading receiver on that team, obviously, but 46.3% of his receptions were within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage. 523 yards from those, 234 yards after the catch on that.
Yeah.
So what you were saying with the rub routes is exactly
100%.
right. That's what Mike wants to do.
No,
he wants
and
to get the ball out quick and get people moving.
Yeah, and he didn't call a ton of rub routes, and he just kind of ran plays that they're close to it in Green Bay a lot.
Yeah.
But I think now when you look at analytics and how everything works, that's why when you have a Michael Gallup and a Jalen Tolbert and you have some other wide receivers that are going to draw a little bit more attention,
right?
That you're able to, those rub routes become a little bit easier.
Yeah.
But it's all about yards after catch. And we know that CeeDee Lamb can definitely do that. But that also falls into the small package. That I'm curious how much they run the small, which is now what I'm calling the Deuce Vaughn, KaVontae Turpin package.
Oh, come on.
It's a small package.
On.
But how much they run that, that's one of the most fun packages that I could see coming out is if Deuce Vaughn in the backfield, KaVontae Turpin lined up at wide receiver. And if you want to talk about a yards after catch lineup, those two guys, if you let either one of them get into space, then they're easy 15 yards.
Yeah, good luck.
And if you really come up and get on top of them, then that ball's got to go deep over the top and someone else, and you get a CeeDee Lamb or a Brandon Cooks over the top. And Dak talked about throwing the ball deep to Brandon Cooks. Here's Dak talking about his confidence in the deep ball.
Yeah, I think it's just matchups. Obviously I'm looking forward to it, being able to stretch the field, having a guy like that who can take the top off. But the last thing I can do is chase that. I can't come back there knowing I've got him there and just look for that only and not underneath for what's there. And that, once again, that just goes into the whole play call and what's the purpose in that play call. And as I said, if that's the ideal look, whether it's a matchup or whether the coverage looks great for that, yeah, I'm going to take advantage of it and I'm going to push the ball downfield. But he's a guy that, just go back, look at his resume. He can stretch the field. He can beat a lot of guys one-on-one, and I think you'll see that.
So he's got confidence throwing it deep to Brandon Cooks.
Yeah.
And so if you say you can run underneath in that small package and still keep out a CeeDee Lamb or Brandon Cooks to deep ball it, and maybe, or even a Gallup or somebody that can run that deep route. And if the safeties and everybody starts to freak out about those two guys being able to get in space and get you 15, 20 or break it and go far, I just like it. I'm calling it a small package, and I know it's partly a wrestling term. It's a roll-up pin. It's called a small package.
Oh, no.
It's also just a hilarious joke about genitalia. So I like it in two ways, and they're short. They're both short guys.
They are both short.
So I'm calling it the small package. But that is a lineup that I want to see at some point this season. I want to see if it works because that to me feels like the best schematic advantage that they really have with Dak Prescott because it makes it to you throw it to an open guy.
Right.
You either throw it to an open guy or you can take off and try and get 6-7 yards because they're going to be focused on either they're going to be open, the deep ball is going to be open, or you can run. something has to be open because they can't, like, I don't know if you can keep Cavante Turpin and Deuce Vaughn ahead in front of you.
Yeah, right. And Cooks.
And Cooks.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, that's different. So that package, and you can't run it every play because eventually teams will start to figure it out, the risk reward on it. But I think that's a play that if they can stick that into some games, could really start to mess up and just start to fluctuate lineups. I'll play you one more clip real quick before we get to the big fat poll of the day. But this is just a fun clip that he was asked at the end of the press conference because I talked bad about Dak. I'm going to say positive thing about Dak here.
There we go.
Dak Prescott was asked why he was not on the plane with Brandon Cooks in Seattle.
Why were you not on the plane in Seattle?
I did take the plane to Seattle. What you talking about?
The Cooks plane. Why did you turn the invitation down?
It was pregame, and I wasn't able to have a drink before. In all honesty.
Dak Prescott, you know what? I couldn't do it drunk, so don't want to get on a plane with Brandon Cooks. I like that decision making.
Yeah, man, I have a hard enough time getting on the planes when I'm spending my money to get onto them. No way I'm going up with a part-time pilot.
Yeah. We're going to get to Patrick's Big Fat Poll of the day. Remember, you can join the conversation. 512-337-3776. 512-337-3776 is the Specs text line. I do like some texts we've already got. Here, I'm too fat to run. Zombies come tomorrow. I'm going to have to turn and fight. I ain't getting away. I agree with you.
I mean, it's fair.
That is fair.
It's fair.
I also really wonder why there's never naked zombies in these movies. I figure somebody has to be like in the shower and then a zombie breaks in.
When they turn into a zombie?
Yeah, it seems hilarious. It's the funniest zombie you could have because that is a double down of zombie where because if it's just a normal naked guy's coming at you, it's terrifying. But if he is also a zombie, you're like, is that zombie? See? I don't know why no one has done this in a movie.
Why is there so much jiggling?
So much jiggling. I believe pickleball is a Ponzi scheme. I could believe it. I don't know how, but I could believe it is.
Hey.
Bijan's wrapped up in it now too, though.
No way.
Yeah, I think he bought into one of these
Does he have a team?
Professional pickleball teams.
Oh, are they going to build a facility here?
No, oh God, I hope not.
Oh, I hope so.
There was supposed to be a curling facility. That was one of the things that got real
Even
big.
better. Push that one through first.
There was a sign on Brody down by where I live, Brody Lane, that was there forever, and I was so excited because I was like, "This is gonna be the best drunk night." is curling, and it never got built. I think it's a bar now, shockingly.
Oh wow!
In that area, speed walking was made by someone who ate Taco Bell.
Ooh,
it's a fair guess.
That is a fair guess.
That is a fair guess. You know what? I'm gonna go with Taco Bell and the rain.
I will say, after I eat Taco Bell, I'm worried about jiggling too much when I'm walking too.
That is. So disenchanted with Dak, realizing we know I have no other option doesn't give me the excitement that I believe it should. Probably just my battered fan syndrome.
Yeah, I feel
Yeah,
that.
I don't know Cowboys fans like any of their quarterbacks. I'm pretty sure if we had a text line and the internet and all that during Troy Aikman, there'd be tweets every time like, Aikman's career's over.
Yeah, I mean, they did the same thing to Romo the entire time he was playing. So Dak's appreciation will come later. I'm one of those that's going to end up appreciating him later because I have my own feuds with Dak, but we'll get into that another day.
Another day. Zombieland had topless dancer zombies. No, because that's a different conflict of interest. Because then you're wondering how close you can get to a zombie without getting bit. Naked man zombie coming at you, I don't care, even if you're into that kind of thing, seems terrible.
That does seem a little bit more terrifying.
Because if a topless girl's coming at me in regulars, you just be like, well, is it my birthday? And if a naked guy's coming at you, you're like, gotta go. That is finding anything that you can push people away with that's not your hand. And Nate, don't worry, Hogan is walking to Dallas. Nate has hope. He has hope that Aaron Hogan's got to walk to Dallas.
Yeah, we might have to put him in some kind of vehicle with wheels about halfway through. I'm giving him credit to make it halfway, but just based on the way they were talking this morning, he's got a heel injury that might hamper that. But I'm hoping for
He
him.
has a heel injury, and the Cowboys have a coach injury.
Oh, come on.
Oh, sorry.
Come on.
Mike McCarthy's not going to win a Super Bowl. Are you crazy?
No, it's going to be Dan Quinn.
All right. I can go with Dan Quinn.
Yeah.
I can believe that. We'll go with that. It's time to get to the Big Fat Poll today.
Patrick's Big Fat Poll of the day on the Horn.
All right. Big Fat Poll of the day. A bunch of new documentaries have been coming out, like Swamp Kings. We talked about this a little bit yesterday, but I didn't get your interaction yesterday, so I wanted to do it today. with Swamp Kings, with the Johnny Manziel documentary, with the Jerry Jones 10-part documentary, 10 parts of Jerry Jones.
That's a lot of Jerry Jones.
And it's going to be all positive, like 95% positive.
Well, he funded it, didn't he?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's going to just be a 10 episodes of how great is Jerry Jones.
And how bad is Jimmy
And if
Johnson?
it doesn't end in like 98, then it's crazy. But I was thinking, so we have these that are all there. The Roku documentary came out today. I pulled a clip from it, but didn't have time to play it, but we may play it later. The draft documentary, the draft day documentary where they got unprecedented access, that came out on Roku today.
Oh, that's right.
So I'm going to watch that this weekend for sure. I don't like a lot of these things because they're silly. That one is showing actual things happening. So I'm going to check that one out for sure. But I wanted to ask, what Longhorn legend deserves a documentary?
Oh,
So we talked about this yesterday. There's some easy ones. Earl Campbell, the legend of him, and then his life afterwards. Yeah, you get a Ricky Williams,
oh yeah.
that story, and if you put a docu-series about that and everything he's had to, and what he's achieved after the fact and his life after the fact. Vince Young, talking about him coming up, and then the story that came out that he was going to leave. He was going to leave after
Yeah, he was going to go
the
to
Holiday
Houston.
Bowl. He was
Yeah.
gone. That all these things, and then the Jeff Fisher. Anytime I can have just one episode just crapping all over Jeff Fisher, I'd be fine with. And get people that are not even related to Vince Young that are just in the thing and be like, yeah, Jeff Fisher, what a terrible coach.
Yeah.
If we got that, that'd be fine. So I would love that. I would. So those, and then like Colt McCoy, somebody who's interesting. Kevin Durant, someone who's interesting. But I don't know. And the Colt McCoy one seems shorter, but it's all about that. It's, first of all, did you know that him and Jordan Shipley were roommates?
Yes, I did know that. Yes.
The swimming across the
Right.
lake thing. Those
Right.
stories that were in every game. That's the first 20 minutes already. But no, and then going to the national championship game, not being able to get it, not get the Heisman, just kind of the defeat, but then still being in the NFL to this day. I think there's something there.
That's a
But
good
I'm
one.
curious. So, what Longhorn legend would you want to? Who deserves the docu-series the most? Which one would you go? If I could green like this tomorrow, which one would you do? Send us that in 512-337-3776. 512-337-3776. You got one?
You got to go Sticky Icky Ricky. You got to see that story.
Yeah. I feel like that one's been documented a little bit better.
Yeah, but I want the untold version where it's all positive about Ricky.
Yeah.
Where-
Just the one like, dude, it was weed, guys. It was weed. Sorry, kids. Don't smoke weed, kids.
It was vitamins. It was vitamins.
We're going to take a break. We're having a fun time here on a Friday. We want you to join the conversation. 512-337-3776. When we get back, we'll talk a little bit MLB, and then we'll play a clip from Ian Rod B this morning for a conversation we're going to have in the 6 o'clock hour about the Longhorns that I want to have with my man Jacob Standard. I want to have with you guys. We're going to get to that coming up right here on the Sports Complex on the Horn, 1019 AM 1260, hornfm.com, and the Horn app. Back on the Sports Complex here on the Horn. It's a 512 Friday. Jamming some tunes you can go check out this weekend. This is Aaron Stevens, and he is playing tonight at the Oscar Blues Brewery.
Ooh, I like this.
Yeah, Aaron Stevens is a beast, an amazing guitar player, soulful. He's so good. So, yeah, I would tell you, if you want to go check out that show, he's at Oscar Blues Brewery. But just check out Aaron Stevens in general. He is really good.
What time does that get started?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
Not off the top of my head.
Well.
I would assume not too late.
Yeah.
But, yeah, probably a little bit. You know, normally the breweries try and start around 7 to 9
Right.
because you want to get it, but you also want it to be a little bit cooler.
Yeah.
You know, if it could, cool off a little bit, it's always nice.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not possible to be cool here in Texas right now, but as close to that as you can
It
get.
cool off. It's
Yeah.
cooler than the hottest of the hot is what I'm going for. We're back here, myself, Patrick Davis, Jacob Standard joining me for a fun little Friday, maybe having some more guests on Fridays and having Jacob in and everybody. And, we want to get you ready for the weekend. We have a fun show on a Friday.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, get
it's
you guys ready.
It's all joy over
It's
here.
all
Yeah,
joy.
good
Joy and-
times.
yeah, and him, I love making him mad about the Cowboys, which is, it's more fun on a Friday than a Monday, because Monday he's either going to be dejected or way too happy.
Oh, don't do this to me after a Cowboys win during the regular
Yeah,
season.
but
I'm
by
going
Friday,
to
by Friday, he will already be disappointed again.
be.
I will be able to ruin it by
myself.
Friday. We got a little MLB update for everybody. The Astros had one of their worst losses in franchise history yesterday. You know it's bad when Martin Maldonado gets on the mound. He is in the lineup today. That game is about to start, actually. They're going to be playing the Tigers tonight. Framber Valdez on the mound. But, yeah, they lose 17-1 yesterday against the Red Sox. It's annoying because they're right there, and the Rangers have had a losing streak, and the Astros still just haven't been able to come over
They
and overtake
just
them.
can't do it.
But, yeah, you're hoping that the offense is going to get going. Because the worst part about the 17-1 run game is the one run. The 17 you basically pulled your pitchers at a certain point. JP France had a really bad outing. Martin Maldonado gave it 4 runs. So it's not 17 really. You could have capped it off a little bit earlier, but the one run part is where it's disappointing because they weren't putting out their best pitchers either, and you're not able to get anything going.
No, they had 36 total at-bats, 10 hits, 3 walks, and only 1 run to show for it. They just couldn't string multiple hits together in an inning.
Yeah, it's disappointing. They're going to try and get it back on the road. They do have probably their best lineup going tonight. Jose Abreu is back from his stint on the injured list. You're going to have Jordan, Kyle Tucker, and Chas McCormick all out in the outfield. Yanier Diaz as the DH, Maldonado behind the plate. You may argue that a better lineup is having Jake Myers in the outfield, Jordan at DH, and Yanier catching. But for Framber, I know they want to slow him down. He's one of the guys that we've seen with the Astros that we've seen the pitch clock start to affect later in the season, as when they start to give it away, they're just not able to calm down and start throwing a good game again, and they overcorrect. So they basically can't find the zone, and then everything's right down the middle and very hittable. And it's been a process of normally you would have, 5 or 6 years ago, you just come out and you talk to your guy and you calm him down, and you had unlimited visits and you had all the time, and you tell him take as long as you want between pitches.
Yeah.
Just kind of take your time and slow it down. And that is no longer the case. And some of the young pitching for the Astros is showing that Framber Valdez can pitch a no-hitter when things are going his way. And then the games surrounding it not have great outings.
What's the remedy? Do we just start checking first base 5 times in between pitches?
No, because if you do that, they get a base. Because you can only check first base twice. If you don't get them on the third one, it's an automatic steal. But because they've remedied that as well.
Yeah.
No, it's just you just constantly – I think – this is where, you have to kind of look to new school things of how to reset people's mindset in between pitches. And, hey, look, I know you want to – it's going to make it different for you when you're feeling it. It may kind of take you out of feeling it where you're getting pumped up and really doing it. But you have to, every single pitch, go off and take that deep breath and erase your memory.
Right.
And go pitch the next one. And it's easier said than done, clearly. But whatever you have to imagine or whatever you have to do to go, okay, let's take it and let's calm down. In between batters especially, really take that time, and don't take that time to go, dang it, I walked him, and take that time and immediately just go, okay, we're done. All right, let's focus.
Yeah, new batter. What's my game plan for this guy?
But that is something it's Christian Javier is a problem for as well. Urquidy has been better with it, but a lot of their young pitching has dealt with that this season. So it's just a learning curve and a process they're just going to have to get better with. The Rangers are on a 7-game losing streak,
Thank God.
which you would not have expected. And you would have said, well, if they were, they're not in first place anymore. All that really happened was the Mariners caught up to everybody.
Yeah.
The Mariners jumped on up. They're going to take Dane Dunning on the mound against Texas. The game will not be on our airwaves tonight because at 6:45 we will be going to Vandergrift High School football. First game of the season. We'll be carrying that. So the Rangers will not be on our airwaves tonight, but they will be coming back on Saturday.
Football is back.
But high school football is back. We got games, and we got games tomorrow. And I got draft day thing to watch that came out of Roku. Oh, it's gonna be a football weekend.
I'm so excited.
I think I got a fantasy football draft. I think I got my first one on Sunday.
Ooh.
So I'm excited.
Oh, I need to schedule mine. I just remembered that. Somebody texted me today and said, "We still doing that?" Yeah.
Yeah, no one ever schedules it, and then you're jammed in the end. But we're gonna talk fantasy football right before we get to high school football. But I do. Mariners do start their series with the Royals. That should be a fun series to watch if you're just a fan. You have MLB Network. That is 2 young teams that, the Royals are not playing as well as the Mariners are, but they do have a lot of good young talent, so anything can happen there.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go over to a conversation that was on Hook 'em Up this morning with Ian Robbie, and I want to get into this in 6. I want to get into it with you guys, but I'm going to play their part first, so a piece of their part so we can kind of get the basis of what the discussion is, and then we will get into it about what is the most important game for the Longhorn football team this season.
All right, time to talk some Texas football. Instead of doing like a deep dive into X's and O's, we got plenty of time for that, obviously, and we'll get into it. I want to piggyback on the conversation from yesterday about Brett Yarmark's comments that got Longhorn fans all riled up, of course. Where he's talking to some fans in Lubbock, and then he makes a comment that Joey McGuire needs to basically repeat what he did last year and beat those Longhorns on their Farewell Tour out of the Big 12. This is the question I have for Longhorn fans out there. Specs text line 512-337-3776. And not even Longhorn fans, just fans of Hook 'em Up. Where's that Tech game now? Where is it among the most important matchups for Texas in this 2023 season? Like, is it in the top 3?
Yes.
It is down in the top 3 for you?
Yes.
Wow, automatically.
I think so. As far as on the schedule.
Okay, so it's obviously not Texas Bama. Texas Bama that's probably number 1 for everybody. Texas really? That's not your top game.
No, not for me. I mean,
Okay.
it's the most anticipated
Ty, is that
game.
your top game? Yeah, I think that's my top game. I mean, I've heard Jerry Hamilton say that for recruiting, he said you can win the Big 12 or you could beat Bama. He said beating Bama will be better for recruiting than winning the Big 12.
Agreed.
Like he said, that's how big of a game it is. It's huge. Huge. But you got what game do you have bigger than Bama?
K-State here.
I got K-State as number 2.
K-State against Texas on November 4.
I got K-State as number 2. I went back and forth between that and obviously Texas OU. I think Texas is better than Oklahoma, but I think it's a big game for Oklahoma this year than it is for Texas, strangely enough. But I'm with you. I got K-State as my second. I think my second most important game of the season behind Bama. Because I think they're the defending Big 12 champion, and I think they are the second best team in the Big 12 behind Texas.
Maybe I'm being too literal and practical because it's a non-conference game. Nick Saban's lost 1 non-conference game in 15 years at Alabama. 1 time.
It doesn't happen a lot.
I guess I'm just not expecting him to win the game. I'm not expecting. Yeah, Texas hasn't played a game in Alabama in 100 years. For hype and for all the that everyone that's going.
Circumstance around it.
I mean, I get it. I get why it's a huge game. It's a classic matchup in college football. It's the first matchup against Alabama since the championship game at the Rose Bowl. Same time, if you lose the game, you're still okay.
Yeah, you still can win the conference. And
I look at it,
So you're looking at it too pragmatically.
Yeah, probably so.
Yeah.
Because for me, every year the biggest game is Oklahoma. Every year that Texas plays, the game in Dallas is the biggest game because it matters the most. And if you win that, then K-State becomes 2. And then for me, yes, it's between Tech and Alabama.
So you got Bama as 3.
Yeah, but again,
wow.
I'm not saying I'm right on that. I'm just that's in my head. I'm like, I'm anticipating the L, Rod.
That's basically.
And if they win it, it's gravy. If they win it, it's gravy.
No, it's good. No, your practicality and your rationality there makes perfect sense.
You're right. It would be a huge
Yeah, you're talking about goals, the goals of the team, which are win the Big 12, number one, and then after that, everything is gravy. We're talking about just after that, hey, if you win the Big 12, and then you're in the College Football Playoff discussion, that's great as a one-loss team, all that kind of stuff, or a two-loss team, whatever it may be. So I understand that. Hit Specs text line, one text says Bama, Oklahoma, K-State, then Tech.
Yeah.
Blind Longhorn fan says either 3 or 4 for him as Tech in terms of where they rank now in the priority list. And one texter says OU 1, Bama 2, TCU 3. Wow,
that
he
game
said,
scares me. By the way,
got to get that purple kryptonite off our back. Okay,
Sonny Dykes has never lost to Texas as head coach.
That's a hell of a stat.
I mean,
and that's why kind of K-State worries me a little bit because Chris Kleiman is a damn good coach, and he hadn't beaten Sark. He's been struggling versus, you know what I mean? Like Sark beat him in year 1, even though they probably shouldn't have because they were a bad team, and then beat him last year at home, even though they won the Big 12. I think Chris Kleiman's got that. Well, I know Chris Kleiman's got that game circled like, all right, I got to figure this Sark thing out. We got to beat Texas. So that's a big game for him. Big game. So I got Tech. I got Tech right now I got Bama number 1. I'll go K-State 2, Oklahoma 3, and then I'll go Tech 4 for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go Tech 4. I'll say that their trash talk it's gotten them up. It's gotten them up to number 4 now on my priority list of the most important games for Texas next season.
The reason the TCU game stands out because it's right after the K-State game, right? And it just gets you if you beat Oklahoma and Dallas in early October, you got Baylor. Don't sleep on the Baylor game September 23rd.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Dave Aranda, he had a good game plan initially last year.
Well, I mean, they had Texas. And that was a very good Baylor team. They ended up 6-7, yet come fourth quarter, that was a really tight game.
Yep.
Now, Texas is hoping they've improved and they're ready to go, but that Baylor game somewhat worries you. Same time, the TCU game right after the K-State game, because I think K-State is the favorite, not named Texas, right?
Yep.
They won it last year. They bring everybody back on their offense outside of Deuce Vaughn, including their quarterback. The K-State game is one you just got to circle. That's a really, really big game in the Big 12. But the next week you're playing in Fort Worth, probably at night. I'm assuming they'll try to get that to a night game. I don't know. TV will determine that.
Depending on how TCU, how good they are.
And Sonny Dykes has had Texas' number, whether he was at Cal or at TCU. And Gary Patterson had owned Texas before that.
And I'll add to it because I think you make a good point there about the timing of where TCU is. More you say right after K-State.
Yeah, right after.
You guys know what I've described as the schematic kryptonite for Steve Sarkisian. Turns Sark into Steven, like turning Superman into Clark Kent. That high three down defense. All 3 in a row, they all run it. K-State, TCU, and Iowa State. They all run it
well,
right there at the end of the season.
Have a game plan for
you
that
better be ready for it, yeah, because that is the schematic nightmare stretch for Sark because they all run the defense that has given him the most headaches.
It says I rank the Tech game as number 10 because F them. That's why.
I get it. Listen, think about it, guys. There's so much animosity that is building here. We forget, and I shout out to Brian Davis, who no longer works for the Statesman, but did
works for the university now.
Works for the university. Texas One Fund. Is it to work with them?
No, he works in the Capitol. He works in the tower.
Oh, he works in the tower.
He does communications for the tower.
Oh, okay, big time. No, but he always did a good job writing too. But remember that article he wrote a few years ago, maybe a couple of years ago, where he remarked that some of the officials from Tech were upset because they thought CDC had given them a promise or some kind of agreed on a gentleman's agreement to play Tech once they left for the SEC. Do you remember this controversy? How about here it is. I'm reading from the Austin American-Statesman article. In September 2021, Texas Tech Athletics Director Kirby Hocutt said he and Texas AD Chris Del Conte had discussed the idea of the Red Raiders and the Longhorns continuing to play in all sports, especially football, for 20 to 25 years after UT leaves the Big 12. Not only did they discuss it, Hocutt said, but UT leadership affirmed they would work with Tech to make sure the football series played annually since 1960 would continue. A year later, Tech officials are anxious that there's been no movement on that front. They said they believe UT leaders have told Longhorn alumni groups that there are no plans to continue a series with Tech. Hocutt's quote, "As I've talked to my counterparts counterpart at the University of Texas, while all the right things have been communicated to me, it's concerning that in the last couple of weeks, I've heard from individuals in Dallas and in Fort Worth and in Midland that there's different things being said from those folks representing the University of Texas that a scheduling alliance against Texas Tech is not going to happen. Chris Del Conte said Wednesday he believes the Longhorns playing other Texas schools is important, but he's not in a position to schedule future non-conference games until he knows how many conference games he'll have to play in the SEC.
Ooh.
Del Conte said, quote, I wouldn't say it was anything more than the idea of playing each other. That's all way premature to me. The issues were really just about playing Texas schools is the way I looked at it, and Texas Tech is part of that. I mean, I get it. So the officials over there, they were a little upset about this from way back in the day. They thought, oh, Texas is going to continue this rivalry, and now they're trying to drudge up a rivalry. They're trying to make one out of nothing, and essentially maybe incentivize fan bases and everybody. They went to Governor Abbott with this thing.
Oh, I know.
They went to Governor Abbott to get him to advocate on their behalf.
Because Texas and A&M are going to be in the same conference now, and Tech is the odd person out, odd school out, as far as the state schools. So Tech's upset they got ghosted. They got ghosted.
Yes.
They're not getting a call back.
Well, I think they're upset about the miscommunication because Herb Koka is saying, and Tech officials are saying, CDC said, hey, it's going to happen, baby. I got it. You know, I got you. I got you. All right, don't even worry about it.
Now he ghosted him. Now he's ghosting him. And
then CDC saying, whoa. It didn't go like that. I said, I think it's cool to play Texas schools, and there was a miscommunication. I just said, Tech, you're a part of that. So it's almost like miscommunication, or if I told a girl, I think I could one day fall in love with you, and then she takes that to mean I love her, then that was a miscommunication. But I didn't say I love you. I just said
and now you're not picking up the phone.
Exactly. And like you said, then I had to ghost her.
Yeah. Now she's calling and you're not answering, won't respond to her text.
Yeah, so that's kind of happened with Tech in Texas too. So that's something else you throw in there.
The plot thickens.
Oh, man. Those so-called blue bloods.
Last time Texas Tech played in Austin, Texas scored 70 points.
70.
Now, last time they played in Lubbock, Texas Tech won. They went for it on fourth down like 100 times. And
6 of 8.
Won the game.
All right, we're going to get more into that conversation in the 6 o'clock hour. But we got to take a break. We're going to come back and get some of your text. The big fat poll of the day, which Longhorn legend would you like to see a docuseries on, a la Jerry Jones or Swamp Kings or the Johnny Manziel doc? Who would you want to see a documentary on? Send that in. 512-337-3776 is the Specs text line. We'll be right back on the Sports Complex. The Horn, 1019 AM 1260, hornfm.com, and the Horn app. Back on the sports complex here on the Horn. A little 512 Friday for you. This is Souls Extolled. They're having a big boat party tomorrow. You can get tickets. I believe it's an open bar on the boat. So it's like a barge, like one of those party barges.
This sounds like a group that would play a party boat.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is awesome.
So they will go out there. So if you want to be a part of that, I think there's still tickets available. You can go check it out on their social media at Souls Extolled, and the links where you can go buy the tickets and then have a good time on the lake enjoying some music and
That's
drinks
incredible.
and friends. They do it every year. It's always a party. They always invite me out, and I tell them that's not my party. I appreciate the invite, but not.
You think I could pass as you if I just showed up?
No, because I know them.
Oh, well. I thought they were just like operating off the name.
No.
Like Patrick Davis, you got to know that name in Austin.
No.
No.
I know who they are.
Okay.
So no, but it's one of those parties where you're like, there's a lot of young people there, and it's fun because young bands sometimes don't. They're just nice people,
Yeah.
and so they don't realize that they're one day going to be old. So they don't look at people like they're just like, yeah, you're a person, I'm a person. You're like, trust me, when you're 10 years older, then you're going to be like, yeah, I don't want to be around that. I don't. It seems like I'm going to be in a corner the whole time, just like, oh, it's hot.
Yeah, I think y'all could turn it down.
Guys, it's hot out here. If you want to go have fun and you're not a curmudgeon like me, who is old, like I was also considered too old for the party when I was like 22.
Oh,
They were
no.
already like, Patrick, why are you being an old man?
Oh, no.
And that was with people that were 10, 15 years older than me.
That was when that's when you started being what's the word you used?
Curmudgeon?
Can you define that for me?
I mean, it's someone who's curmudgeonly.
Oh, man. That's. I'm going to have to look up the exact definition of that. That's a great word, and I want to add it to my vocabulary.
Yeah. No, it's just a picture of me. It's curmudgeon. On this text line, we're asking you 512-337-3776. We are asking about which Longhorn would you like to see get the docuseries treatment, especially the Netflix Nice docuseries treatment that is coming out now.
Yeah,
Not the
nothing
one
bad
that's-
happened to you.
Not the one where they're like gonna go after Ricky Williams or Vince Young or something like that. No,
Right.
just the good ones.
Yeah.
Just those.
Somehow they made it look like Johnny was a victim for getting caught.
Yeah. No, they also somehow he still has his Heisman, but Reggie Bush doesn't.
That one's a little weird, yeah.
Like where he had a documentary where he went on it and was like, yeah, I got paid the whole time. And then they're like, Reggie Bush, you may have got some improper benefits. There's a great thing on YouTube now if you want to check it out from, I believe, SB Nation, but maybe it's a Secret Base, I think is what they're called now. But a thing about how the NCAA hates USC and Reggie
Ooh,
Bush. And
I'm
it's just
interested.
an interesting thing. So you can check that out on YouTube.
Okay.
I'll try. Maybe I'll post a link here on social media. You can follow me at It's Patrick Davis and Jacob at
Jacob Standard.
There you go. Chan had Chris Sims in the drama with Major as QBs for UT. Yes, I like that. That's a good one. If you have to do, I think if you did Major and Chris Sims and kind of went through
Right.
both of them and merged in and then their careers afterwards, I think Major's had some news that he may not want to have a docuseries about.
Oh.
I think there was something that happened. Documentary on Pole Assassin and the Monkey. Yeah, all right. Look, we're all a fan. Jeff Banks is a really good coach, so let's be nice. Guys, I want to keep Jeff Banks. I don't want him to go to another school. I am team Pole Assassin and the Monkey.
Okay.
I am team. Those kids shouldn't have been around there. Jeff Banks is a really good coach, you guys.
You guys are awesome.
I would like to see Vince Young. It would be pretty interesting. Yeah, I think Vince Young would be an interesting one to kind of, now that he's a little bit more mature, to kind of get his takes on some of the things
Yeah, sure.
and go through those again and have people now that can talk about like what it was like and winning the national championship and how great it was on Texas for that period.
Right.
I think a docu on Casey Studdard.
Ooh.
You know what?
You know what? I'm in on that.
You know what? As someone who's met Casey, that may be a fun one too. We're going to keep reading your text. We're going to get into the discussion with your text as well of the conversation they had on Hook 'em Up with Ian Robbie this morning of what is the most important Longhorn game this season after the comments from Ray Yormark and Texas Tech, and then you got Alabama week 2. What game is most important? So tell us which game is the most important to you on the Specs text line as well as these docuseries. Someone said Ramonte Taylor. He played like he didn't play that much.
He wasn't. Yeah.
I liked it. I mean, he could have been good, but
Maybe
that was in the Bookham Horns era.
Maybe that means his off the field is way more interesting though.
Well, I mean, he did go to jail.
I mean, see,
So
now we got a
there's that.
storyline. Now we're building conflict. We need some
Building
characters.
Conflict. We got to come back. We will get into some more conversation with your text, 512-337-3776, right here on the Sports Complex on the Horn 1019 AM 1260, hornfm.com, and the Horn app. Hour 2 of the Sports Complex coming at you. Patrick Davis here. You can follow me at It's Patrick Davis. In studio with me today at Jacob Standard, the man himself who does the digital world for us here at the radio station, sitting in with me today, having a fun little Friday, getting you ready for the weekend of sports. College football is back. It's back. Tomorrow, college football is back. We'll talk about that. We'll talk some more about which Longhorn game this season is the most important to Texas fans. Send this in, 512-337-3776. And the big fat poll of the day, who you want to see a docuseries of which Longhorn legend. Got some good answers coming up on the Specs text line. Thank y'all for joining the conversation. Then we'll get you off at 6:45 for Vandergrift football as they start off their season, I believe, against Dripping Springs.
I believe that is correct.
I believe
that is correct.
I just read that 5 minutes ago, but I still am going to say I believe.
It's better than me. I think I voiced the promo.
You have heard his name. He's heard his voice on the promos. Jacob Standard. Join the conversation. 512-337-3776 is how you can join the conversation. Some more great text about who you would like to see. I'd like to see V. Young. It'd be pretty interesting. A documentary on the 36-year-old with a false name on the UT roster. I believe he's only 30.
Wait a minute.
I believe he was only 30.
That's the
one.
one.
If we're talking about the same guy.
That's the one. We just found it.
Ron Weaver, who was on his 7th year of eligibility when he tricked UT into thinking that he was a high school student going into college or whatever it was.
Oh, my goodness.
And changed his name, and he played for like multiple different schools. The funny part is he probably could have just done this now. In today's college football, he could have just been this guy.
Yeah, I'm on my 6th COVID year.
Yeah. I'm on another. No, I got COVID. They gave me a year.
Yeah, they gave me another one. Yeah.
So that one, I believe Ron Weaver is who you're thinking of. The VY can be a tight end for Jeff Fisher is the coach that kills quarterbacks' careers. Unless you're Kerry Collins.
Ooh.
Then he keeps it alive forever on life support. I was at the party when Ramon Taylor got arrested. Text her, I need more information. Text in more information about the party. I don't know enough about that story to be fully, but I'm invested on yours because it's your first text to us too. It's the first text, and I love it.
We have a secret source?
We have a secret source.
What did they text in under? Did they put a name?
There's no name on that one.
Oh, man.
The Mac Brown firing, Nick Saban hiring. That's it. There could be just a Texas football docuseries and just kind of each topic. And some of them, you have to do like 2 or 3 for Ricky and like 2 for Earl.
Oh, yeah.
Go through. You have to do some extras. But you could do like 20 episodes, 30 episodes.
Oh, dude, they have NFL films. You could have Longhorn films and just have content
this is
for months.
All right, take all that Longhorn Network
there you go.
studios and turn them over.
That's what Longhorn Network is now. It's Longhorn Films.
Any Friday Night Lights setup in the new setup. Yes, Vandergrift will be on the air tonight at 6:45. We will be the home of Vandergrift going forward, so you can hear that as well. That is some text. Keep sending them in, 512-337-3776. We also want to hear from the conversation this morning. Which team which game are you most worried about? What's the most important game for the Longhorns? And Jacob, that's where we'll start here in the 6 o'clock before we get to a little preview of some other games. For you, and I think Aaron had a good point about this, about the Alabama game. I don't agree with it fully because I'm going to be irrational. But he had the rational good point that Alabama, if you put that as a make or break on the season, and they're just really good, and Nick Saban, you're at Alabama, and they win, it's kind of, it can put a mark on your season if that's a make or break game. But for me, it's still, I like to look at it as the most important because it's going to change throughout the season. And so you say right now, the most important game is Alabama, because if you beat Alabama, your goals are national championship.
Yep.
And if you lose, then you go, fine. But the goal now is Big 12 championship. Maybe you can make a college football playoff and slip in the back door and be 8-1, 9-1. But I think that that's really kind of the curve. So for me, I'm still saying it's Alabama. What is it for you?
It's Alabama without a doubt. And I want to use a quote from a very wise person I know named Patrick Davis. It's the all gas, no excuses tour.
It is.
So you cannot start now by saying, well, we can live with a loss to Alabama. If the expectations are national ones.
There is no moral victories anymore.
Right.
And so this is, for all the hype and everything we built up, I can't, if I've been preaching this hype for the past 3 weeks here on the show, and before that with Ball Don't Lie, then I feel I need to continue to preach it that I think this is a team that can beat Alabama.
100%.
This is a team that, and especially when we played Nick Saban yesterday, talking about he wants a quarterback to step up and take it. And now beating the crap out of Texas would take up and stay, you be the quarterback.
I think he found his guy. Yeah.
But we're hoping that does not happen. And so if we move on with that and we say we're both on Alabama,
yep.
Then when we start to rank these other teams, where are you going second of the second most important game?
Oklahoma. Take care of your rival and the person going to the SEC with you. Okay. That is second order of business.
I agree with you on that one. Doubt. Yeah, because I agree that the Oklahoma game, and it's you're coming off, you just beat them so bad.
Yeah.
You beat the brakes off them last year, and now you're going to come back, and if you lose that one, it was Dylan Gabriel was hurt. That was it. You guys beat us without our starting quarterback. That's what our problem was.
Yeah.
And so, to come back and beat him again, to show you're at that level, to not let this be another year of disappointment. I agree with you. That for me is my number 2 as well. Now, if we go to 3.
Okay. I got Kansas State.
I like that. I do like Kansas State as well. And I'm going to tell you why it's Texas Tech for me, and it was Texas Tech originally.
Really?
And this has less to do with the whole Brett Yormark thing. It has less to do with, the rivalry that they're trying to pretend is this long-lived rivalry that both teams – because everyone I know, no one dislikes Tech. Like, people dislike Tech now because Tech is being so unbelievably crass. And just like, no, the ref should fix the game for us. And we should, that. So I get that people now are getting more upset at him. For most people that are growing up we had friends that went to Tech. I don't really care that much about Tech because I didn't care. They were a team that gets annoying when they beat you, but they were like Kansas.
It's like one of those, whoever they're playing, they're on upset alert. You know what I mean? And that's about the peak of their relevance.
It's like TCU or Kansas State. Like Kansas, they would beat us more. The Purple Kryptonite would take care of us more than Texas Tech was ever a problem.
Absolutely.
Or an Iowa State would where I put Texas Tech. And you go, I get it. They're both Texas teams.
Right.
But I'm not counting Lubbock. I live in Austin. I'm not counting Lubbock like that.
I think it's just because they're so obnoxious.
It is. No, and I get it. But it's one of the parts what's making me happy to go to the SEC because there's going to be obnoxious people there.
Everyone's obnoxious, though.
But a lot of those teams are better at football. So I'm not they have a bit more history, and I get it. I just don't, and I don't think they're going to care as much about building a rivalry with us. It's very annoying to have a needy person grabbing at your leg constantly.
You just laid out the beef most people have with Longhorns fans.
Yeah. That we don't care?
That they wish you were a little bit better at football for how much you run your mouth. Yeah.
Look, I get paid to run my mouth.
That is a fact.
But, no, I agree. And look, people get mad at the Longhorns. I get it. And when CDC tweeted out a thing if somebody wanted to make the shirt that said Texas embrace the hate, and he was like, I don't know.
It.
And CDC seems on board for it. But again, this is the John Wick season. Multiple players have mentioned the John Wick season.
Yeah, they're obviously saying that.
Everyone hates us season. So I get it. But to go back to the original point of why the Texas Tech game is because it is a trap game. Because if you're playing well and you're rolling through the season and you're playing at home and it's around Thanksgiving and your mind wanders to the college football playoff and the Big 12 championship and it wanders off of the goal at hand, that's a hard game with the holiday right around it to really focus fully. And it's a game where some of the guys that you may need to play big in that game are going home and they're not getting enough playing time, and they go talk to the uncle who is pissed off because, his nephew that he told everybody at work was going to get a bunch of playing time, even though he's never supposed to. And he's not playing, so screw Sark, and you should transfer off this. You shouldn't even play another down for them. They don't deserve you. And and you have friends and everybody who's telling you're playing right after that, which is just a weird time of year when you get to the holidays. So that's why I thought it was a trap game, because it is. If you can run through the gauntlet of everything else that season and have it be a 1-loss team or a 0-loss team getting to Texas Tech, it's going to be real hard to not look ahead.
Especially if Tech is like a 7-win team, 6 wins at that point. Like that, I agree. That could be a trap.
That's why I've put Texas Tech as such an important game, is because I think that it's a very easy game to lose for Texas, just in the fact that they could be looking ahead. And now reality is Texas could stumble before that.
Right.
And that changes everything. And, then we're not drinking the Kool-Aid anymore, and, you just got to try and win what you can. But as I'm looking at it, I think they can beat Alabama. I think they can go and have a run, and they'll probably drop one. But that Texas Tech game, all that Brett Yormark really did was put himself more on the map of like, cool, get some extra motivation for this team late in the season where they may not be as focused. I'm sure Joey McGuire would not have appreciated. Joey McGuire would have been fine if that clip never made it out of Lubbock.
Oh, yeah.
And we know that he went on Jim Rome the next day and basically said nothing. And when he was directly asked about it, said Sark is a good coach. That offense should be really good, but we're not looking. That's too far down the line. That's a long ways away, and we're going to move on with what we're doing. That's what his response was. So he knows it as well as anybody else. But that's where I put it. Is there any other game on there that you look at and is like a TCU to you a big game that had been a problem? They were playing for the national championship last year. Sonny Dykes has never lost to Sark or never lost to Texas.
TCU, not so much. They lost a lot
they did.
to the NFL, and they're not going to have the same team they had last year. Sonny Dykes is still a phenomenal coach, and I'm not saying it's not an important game. I'm just saying it's not as important as someone say, I still think Kansas, because I still think the same mindset you had with Tech, where it's like that boogeyman still kind of lives in the mind of Longhorns and Longhorns fans of, got to beat Kansas. Can't get beat by the Jayhawks in football.
Yeah. No, and I get, and that is definitely a trap game, and it's crazy that that's a trap game now. But I think that it is. That's a game you can get up for, and Texas is still just a bigger, better team than them.
Right.
So any of those games can end up being that. Any game can, but you have to, if you're going to play at that level, it's more of outside factors in that last game of the season for me. Outside factors when you add in family and everybody, when you say, well, if the team's going to go home for a day or two before that game.
I'll say it's also the week before the Oklahoma game. So it could be possible to start looking at that Oklahoma game knowing that Kansas is not a traditional football powerhouse.
It is. If it was in Kansas, I would be a little bit more worried. It's at Texas, so it's a trap. I with me, but yeah, I would say going to TCU would worry me more. Going to Iowa State, that again is a game late in the season where you got to keep focused going to a place that you don't necessarily want to go. You can keep telling us your answers on the Specs text line 512-337-3776. Most important game, Texas and OU. Game I'm most worried about, a trap game versus Kansas, just like Jacob just said.
Yeah.
We got most important game, the next one. Thanks, Coach.
Ooh, I like that.
Look, I know the most important game is the next one. I know it is, but that's boring for my job.
Right. Imagine if we just came in here. What's the most important game?
Man,
the first one. Move on.
Guys, if I talked about Rice for the next 4 weeks. The next 2 weeks, if the last 4 weeks was just me talking about Rice.
I got to tell you, man, that Rice QB, he really scares me. He can give these Texas DBs some fits if we're not up to it. Yeah.
Yes, and we got a text back from the party, so I will get to that. We will get to the text of the arrest party. We got a text there. We'll get to that. I do want to preview some of the other games this weekend to get you ready for your games this weekend. We'll start off. There's basically 3 games I'm previewing. One of them is going to seem off, but there's a reason why it's on there.
Okay.
So we'll start. There's 2 big games. The first one is Navy versus Notre Dame. Look, we know who's going to win, but it's a 20.5-point spread right now. So your question is, can Notre Dame beat Navy by 3 touchdowns? This is a big year for Marcus Freeman as a coach, right? He's not. Brian Kelly's doing big things.
Yeah.
In LSU, so you have to turn it around. They get Sam Hartman from Wake Forest, right? It's his 6th season. He started his freshman year. He played 4 games his sophomore year, so he redshirts, starts his sophomore season, starts his junior season, starts senior, playing his 6th season now.
Right.
So he has a ton of experience. He's a ACC passing touchdowns leader. He's got a ton of – so this offense should be better than it was last year, right?
Yeah.
The offense should be better. The question is for the point spread is basically there's new clock rules, which means you can run the clock even more than you used to, because the clock doesn't stop for first downs anymore.
Okay.
So you can just basically keep running that clock.
Well, that's a good note.
And Navy runs the ball. They were number 2 in rushes last season, right? They do have a new OC. He's allegedly going to throw the ball more, which would mean they would drop to 3rd or 4th in rushing.
Have you ever seen Navy throw the ball?
That's what they apparently got a new guy. His name's Grant Chestnut from Kennesaw State. Throw that out at a party when you're watching the game. Grant Chestnut from Kennesaw State's there, the new offensive coordinator for Navy.
Oh, I can't
believe he's going
believe
to throw the ball more.
I can't believe y'all didn't know he was
Kennesaw
from
State runs the ball a lot too, though. So I don't think he's going to throw it a bunch more. But that is the one question: is can they get 21 points? Because is Navy just going to run the ball enough? I think Notre Dame can still cover easily because you're going to get a couple big, quick scores on Navy. They're just not a great defensive team either.
Yeah.
So I think that it's easy enough to say Notre Dame covers this one. What do you got?
I think they cover that by halftime, and they never give it back.
Yeah, that one's not as big. All right, so this next game, the reason why I'm talking about it is because there is basically Notre Dame and Navy early, then one game that you can watch in between before you get to USC San Jose State. And that is UTEP and Jacksonville State, sorry. Don't want to throw away Jacksonville there. UTEP versus Jacksonville State. It is a actual conference game, Conference USA. This is Jacksonville State's first game in the FBS.
Oh,
They
no.
just moved up to a D1 school.
Shock the nation.
UTEP is 1.5 point favorites. They returned 4 starting O linemen. They have a redshirt senior quarterback in Gavin Hardison for UTEP. I think UTEP can cover this easily. You know, it is Jacksonville State can try and make the big one, but this is a first FBS game. They are entering the big leagues. Usually those guys take a little bit to get the recruiting up.
I'm going to take Jacksonville State to cover.
Yeah, you're going to take them to cover 1.5.
1.5.
You're not going to take them to win straight up.
I don't think either team has the capability
But
of...
you win. Why would you not take them to win straight up then? They got 1.5. They're going to win. Are they going to win? Or are they going to lose by 1?
Well, see, I want that little bit of insurance.
Come
but
on,
It's
just go for it. Say Jacksonville
You know what?
State
You're
wins their
right.
first game.
Jacksonville State wins their first FBS football game
All right, that's
against
Jacob.
UTEP.
That's a Jacob Standard promise.
And you can
All
bet your
ang-
house on it.
All angry text to @Jacob Standard. All right, let's get to the final game. That's a big one. San Jose State versus USC. USC is a 31-point favorite. We know what USC is. We know Caleb Williams is the odds-on favorite to win the Heisman right now. We know what USC can do. We know they're going to put up monster numbers. That often, and by the way, San Jose State defense isn't very good. So it's not even that you're playing a decent defense team. So I will tell you, they do have a decent quarterback, San Jose State. He's an okay, so he could score a few points. They may get some points up on a lackluster USC defense.
Right.
And San Jose State, this is the stat that worries you. 6-0 at home last season, San Jose State.
Oh, no.
They're playing at USC, and they were 1-4 on the road.
Oh, no.
Not a good road team. But the question is, does USC leave their starters in? No. Why would you? So if you say, can third-string USC beat San Jose State by 31 points?
I'm going to say yes because the over-under is 66.5. And that's a telling number if San Jose State can only score the ball a couple times.
It would not surprise me if it was 21-0 out of there. I believe there's a bet you can take that the over-under on the first quarter is 14. I would tell you if you're betting, bet that one.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
If the over-under is 14 in the first quarter and Caleb Williams is going to just dominate this team, I would not. That's a bet I would take, just personally.
Yeah, I like that.
Let's see. One more clip before we go to break. We're going to take a break real quick. Caleb Williams is your Heisman odds that have come out today. Jaden Daniels is number 2 from LSU, and number 3, the man Quinn Ewers.
Oh, yeah.
Are you feeling it?
I'm feeling it. Yeah, I like that one. And Sark has had a Heisman-winning wide receiver before, and the quarterback's a big part of that.
It is a big part. Xavier, and he's got some. If Adonai Mitchell, which we played the clip the other day, he doesn't want to be called AD on TV.
Good job. Yeah.
Adonai is what he wants to be called, so we're going to call him Adonai.
There you go.
Adonai Mitchell is good there. Jordan Whittington.
JT Sanders. Isaiah Nayor. It's...
You get if Jonte Cook or Niblett or one of those guys steps up. They just have so many weapons. It could be very easy.
And Sark loves the deep ball.
He does. We're going to read some more of your texts. We come back. We'll give you some NFL things to watch for in the preseason and get you ready for Vandegrift taking over the airwaves at 6:45 pregame. Vandegrift versus Dripping Springs. All that coming up here on the Sports Complex on the Horn, 1019 and 1260, the Horn app, and at hornfm.com. on all of our stations, but we will be here till 7 now, which I wonder if there's any breaking news, Jacob.
Yeah, there's a little bit.
Adam Schefter is reporting that Trey Lance, the third-string quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers, they were going to keep him. They said they were going to keep him, but I guess not. They are sending their former third overall pick, Trey Lance, to the Dallas Cowboys for now what is reported as a 4th-round pick. He is not owed that much more money. They get a pickup on his 5th-year option. Trey Lance is a Dallas Cowboy. Will Grier, gotta hate this news, because Will Grier is now off the roster, right?
Yeah, he has to be. I mean, you made a move for this guy. Whoever that lowest man on the totem pole is just got bounced. And I think Cooper Rush has a firm hold on that number 2 job. I hope Trey Lance is not pushing for that. But it goes back. We were talking about this in the hallway a little bit earlier. The Cowboys don't like to put anybody behind Dak that's going to push him.
Yeah. But I guess this is the not sold on Dak Prescott. Let's try another quarterback that may have potential.
I'm so sorry for every bad thing I ever said about Dak Prescott. I hope Trey Lance does not see the field for the Dallas Cowboys.
Good Lord, people. Dak Prescott now has someone behind him with possible NFL ability. And Cooper Rush is all right. But yes,
Cooper Rush has wins in the NFL.
He does have wins in the NFL. I give it to him. He has wins in the NFL. He's not a starting quarterback in the NFL. He's not winning a Super Bowl. Trey Lance, and look, not upgrade. We don't know. Trey Lance may never see the field in Dallas. This is a 4th-round pick. It just doesn't seem like a Dallas move.
No, they don't make the big splash.
I mean, maybe they put him at running back.
Huh?
Maybe they're going to put him at running back.
Oh, my goodness. That's part of that speed package or the small package with Deuce and
the small package. Put Trey Lance out there. Yeah, that is a big news. Let's get to a little bit. We're going to process this. But yeah,
you've seen him throw at practice, right?
Look, he hasn't played this is the problem is you have to kind of pick up his 5th-year option. Because if you don't pick up his 5th-year option, then you got him for this year
as an insurance
and
plan.
I don't feel that you were ready, and I don't know who your quarterback whisperer is now that has made Dak improve so much that you feel you're going to make Trey Lance improve. I don't know if they were worried about Trey Lance going to Washington.
I don't know. I don't understand the motivation for this.
I don't get it. Unless he's playing running back. In which case,
I'm telling that small package. He's going to run QB.
I don't get that one at all. That is a Schefter bomb. Schefter bomb on a Friday, and they did it Friday at 6:30.
Man, I hope he got some bad info.
All right. So here we go. Let's decompress from that for a second.
I've got a bunch of 49ers fans. They're going to be blowing my phone up here in a second.
What to watch for in some final preseason games. Let's hit this stuff. I thought we were going to be out of here in 10 minutes, but we're going to be here till 7. So we'll get back to it. We'll get back to it. We will also get back to your text. If you want to hit us at 512-337-3776. Let us know what you think about the Trey Lance trade as well. But yeah, let us know which Longhorn legend you would like to see a docu-series about, a la the Johnny Manziel, Jerry Jones, Swamp Kings, any of that. And also which game worries you the most, or which game is the most important game for the Texas Longhorns this season. All right. What to watch for in some final preseason games? I was going to start with the Cowboys.
Me too.
I can't imagine Trey Lance is going to play in this game.
You don't?
He got traded Friday. They play tomorrow. I mean, he's probably not even on a flight yet.
No.
He's not a Baker Mayfield guy who is going to get on the plane and get – I mean, they may put him in there and give him some routes. I don't think that helps him out at all.
Routes.
Or give me just like, here's a couple routes that these guys are going to run.
Oh,
and
I thought
just
you meant him running the route.
No. But I don't see him playing. I see a Will Grier who's very disappointed playing in most of this game.
Oh, how does he suit up and go play that game now?
Well, I mean, because he understands he wants to be on the practice squad.
Yeah, no doubt. He's still fighting for a job, but it's just the mental gymnastics he's going to have to do.
Yeah, so that is, or maybe they've suited up Dak Prescott now because he got a backup.
Ooh. I'd like to see that. Why are we hiding Dak Prescott all preseason, Mike?
I do not know. So if we want to look for things to actually watch for, because I do not believe Trey Lance will be playing for the Cowboys, who is going to get Overshawn snaps? Seeing guys they try and put into this lineup of what safeties are kind of moving up into that linebacker role. Seeing that will be an interesting thing because I'm sure they're going to be trying some things out on defense.
Yeah, so they've got They've got this Isaiah Land kid that Dan Quinn said he's very excited for all of a sudden now that Overshone's out of the picture, but he's an undrafted guy, and he's a linebacker in that room. So I imagine he'll get a lot of run at that Overshone spot just to kind of see how he fares.
Yeah. We'll see Mozzie Smith. Mozzie Smith, another one to watch just to if he has a more standout game. Like Deuce Vaughn is another one. You want to see if he can change the perception of, was game 2 the anomaly or was game 1 the anomaly? Where is more likely Deuce Vaughn? Is he going to be able to rush out of the backfield, rush through tackles? Is he going to be able to do that? Or team's going to be able to adjust? And it's going to take him a little bit longer to be a real nuisance for teams. I think he still do it. It may just take him a little bit longer if teams adjust.
Yeah, and I kind of want to see who that third running back's going to be.
That's a huge one.
Yeah.
Between Malik Davis and Rico Dowdle.
Right.
And we know Lou Epke's going to be going for it too, but I don't see him.
We know who the competition is.
And then Luke Schoonmaker as well, and see what he can do blocking mostly. I don't imagine Jake Ferguson, if he even plays, is going to play too many snaps.
Nah.
So Schoonmaker, if he gets another weekend, that is another one to watch for there.
Yep.
For Texans, watching C.J. Stroud's progress, we know he was going to probably not even going to play in this game when they were going to have joint practices with the Saints.
Right.
They canceled the joint practices, which means D'Amico Ryans now is going to step back. Say that C.J. Stroud's probably going to play some snaps because he wants to give him a little bit more time against the defense.
Yeah.
Unlike Mike McCarthy. See, that is D'Amico Ryans wants to go that way, but he is a much younger player. He is a rookie. I get it. You also want to look at the run defense for Texas. If the Houston Texans are going to be able to figure out that run defense, it's been pretty porous so far in the preseason. I know it's preseason. You have some guys, there's some veterans that aren't playing a lot of minutes in that preseason, but you'd like to see the young guys step up. And always watch Tank Dell. He sat out week 2 of preseason just with a minor injury, but they just decided to hold him out. Not worth it to play him in preseason. He's supposed to be back. He practiced this week, so he could be back playing this week. Tank Dell is somebody who is another small guy that has shown a really big ability to get open. And so if we're looking at that, that is a guy that C.J. Stroud has had a really good connection with.
Yeah, I'm hearing his name a lot.
Let's go back over the text line. I do like this text. We now know the entire 49ers playbook. Would you trade a 4th round pick to mess up the 49ers?
If this was the ultimate, get somebody a secret double agent move, then I will apologize for everything I just said.
You don't think Kyle Shanahan's going to change up the calls?
Right.
I think Kyle Shanahan knows better. And also,
you think they gave Trey Lance the real play calls?
Also, I think part of the reason Trey Lance was 3rd string was because he wasn't learning the playbook well.
I thought they were just feeding him the wrong plays on purpose just to see what would happen.
Yeah. Yes. So that still, if you just joined us, Trey Lance is now a Dallas Cowboy. I will say this is completely Jerry Jones' MO in one thing though. 100% his MO that Jerry Jones loves to repurpose 1st round picks. Jerry Jones loves nothing more than to get a good deal on a 1st round pick. Now, he never seems to worry why they're cheap now.
Yeah, he doesn't ask too many questions.
He never worries about it, but he loves a good garage sale find of something that used to be expensive. And that guy was a 3rd overall pick. They traded three 1st round picks for him.
Except this wasn't a garage sale. They set him on the curb.
No, I get that. No, the Cowboys set Amari Cooper on the curb and then brought him back and tried to sell him. That's what that was. We're going to cut him unless someone wants to trade for him.
Yeah.
And then 2 weeks later, guys getting 1st round picks for guys like Amari Cooper. Still one of the worst. But this is a very Jerry Jones move of, hey, man, there's a 1st round pick available. And what can we get for him? I wonder if it was they were just trying to figure out what they could get. And they were like, well, we'll send you a 4th. And they went, done. They went, crap.
Hey, just see what they'll go for. Just send them this number.
But I mean, I think this is too. This is, you're about to have to offer Dak an extension. This may be the put up or shut up for Dak Prescott. And you didn't draft any running backs. You should have drafted some. So at least Trey Lance buys you fake praise for a year if you decide to not keep Dak Prescott.
So you're telling me my 2 hopes for a franchise QB moving forward for the Cowboys?
No. I think because your one hope for a franchise QB is Trey Lance. We know what Dak Prescott is. We know what he is. I don't think all of a sudden Dak Prescott's going to figure it out with the same. Now, maybe if you say in a year you keep Dak Prescott and you get a new coaching staff in and you get a guy like what Daboll was able to do for Daniel Jones and you get a quarterback whisperer.
Right.
instead of Mike McCarthy, who, good Lord, please don't let that man whisper into anybody's ear.
How many breaths does he take in one sentence while he's whispering?
So many. But I don't. There's just, I don't know. There's parts of it that make sense that you're giving up a 4th round pick for a quarterback who basically just couldn't stay on the field. And it wasn't so much his play was bad when he was playing, but it wasn't, you said, okay, well, this is just kind of young guys. He hasn't played. He had a COVID year and everything. And he was not playing. You still think the reason that he could have been drafted, and we don't know, he could have been really high on their draft board as well. They could have been high on Trey Lance in the draft.
Yeah, I saw somebody report that. I don't remember which of the insiders. They said as soon as Trey Lance hits the market, every GM goes back to their draft day board on him, their grade of what they had for him.
Well, I mean, I didn't think he was on the market. For a 4th round pick, you have to imagine Tampa Bay would have been interested.
Oh, man.
For a 4th round pick?
Yeah, I would imagine they would want to see what that's
if you're
like.
Green Bay for a 4th round pick, if you have Jordan Love and you're not sure about him and you go insurance is Trey Lance?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
What one of these teams, there's multiple teams out there who might, I mean, if you're Seattle even, I know that's in division, you probably don't want to send him there. But you go, we got Geno Smith, maybe we could, I got Pete Carroll who makes Geno Smith this guy. Maybe I get Pete Carroll and he'll go. If I'm Denver in the Russell Wilson experiment and I have Sean Payton who's supposed to make it, maybe I can get him in there.
They have to ride that
But I'm
one
saying,
out.
but I get it. But it's a 4th round pick is what I'm saying. It's a 4th round pick.
Yeah, it's not an expensive price. I'm not a fan of that dude at any price.
I'm just saying I feel like some other team because I thought the reason he wasn't being traded was because his price was going to be too high.
Right.
And it apparently was not.
No, it was apparently very, very cheap.
Apparently a 4th was, wow, let's get him off. And it's not, he's making under $1 million this year, I believe.
Yeah, and he's making $940,000 for the remainder of 2023, $5.3 million in 2024.
Do they just want to screw the Cardinals by lowering the quarterback trade price before they try and ship off Kyler Murray?
So that's their secret plan?
Because where's Kyler Murray going to go now?
I have no clue.
Like, is Tampa Bay going to give up, anything to get him and pay that contract if they don't have a quarterback?
Does Tyler Murray have a next home in the NFL?
Yes. I mean, well, he's got a contract.
Yeah.
He signed a giant contract. So I figure he would, there was always a thing he could have gone to baseball. But at this point, to go, I'm going to go sit and play 4 years in the minors and turn down the $200+ million?
Yeah, I don't think he's doing that one.
I guarantee. He wish he had a guaranteed Deshaun Watson guaranteed contract right now.
Yeah, I bet he does.
I
There's
he
a lot of
kept that
quarterbacks
precedent.
that do.
Whew. All right. We're going to keep your text going if you got anything.
This is
and McCarthy
unbelievable.
ain't no Carroll. I agree.
Yeah. Yeah, tell me about it.
I agree. That's what I'm saying. It's a weird trade because they don't have a quarterback whisperer. It's like Schottenheimer's not that guy.
And it just almost guarantees they're not going to keep looking for the potential next guy if Dak doesn't work out.
No, yeah, they're not drafting a quarterback again next year.
That's
no, because
it.
that 4th round
there.
pick is
right.
They had to trade a pick for Cooks. They had to trade a pick for Gil. Oh, this draft's going to be terrible. Jerry's going to hate it. He's going to ship. Well, he may ship off somebody to try and get to draft pick back. We'll see.
How many picks can we get for Dak?
Not many.
Not that many. Okay.
Yeah, because again, he falls into the category of big paycheck, and we know what he is.
Yeah.
He's not a bad quarterback, but you know what he is.
Right.
Let's talk a little fantasy football before we take a break.
Okay.
I do for a couple games. I don't have too much here of fantasy football to watch for. I don't know if what you got. I do say Lions and Panthers are playing tonight. Check out the rookies. So if Jahmyr Gibbs plays, if Bryce Young plays, go check those guys out. See what they're doing fantasy football wise. If they're worth a flyer late, Jahmyr Gibbs I think is definitely worth a pick.
I would say so.
If he's in that passing, receiving,
I think that's going to be a
game
high
as well.
scoring offense.
Yeah, I think that one's great. And then running back for Carolina, we know they signed Nick Chubb to a lot of money. They read that market wrong. But look, someone else is going to have to make some run plays on there. If they decide that they're going to kind of try and move on from Nick Chubb quickly, or if what they do, they're going to have other runners. If Chuba Hubbard is it, or what is it for Charlotte Carolina?
Which not a bad option, by the way. Chuba Hubbard has done very well for them.
He's done well. And then the one I'll tell you in the Chargers game tonight to watch, Quentin Johnson.
Yeah,
he's done okay, but his longest catch I believe is 16 yards so far. I want to see if he can be a deeper threat if they try and stretch him out at all like that. Kellen Moore, we know, loves third wide receivers. He is a big fan. He has made a third wide receivers a lot of money from the Cowboys. I mean, he made Cedric Wilson a bunch of money. He made Michael Gallup a bunch of money as a third wide receiver. So we know if Kellen Moore is now in Charlotte,
Yeah.
or in the Chargers, then it's a guy that I've looked for. Quentin Johnson in fantasy, he's someone I would look for.
Yeah,
you have
that's not a
anybody else to watch for?
Not for this week. It's the last week of preseason. Not that many guys that are going to be taking meaningful snaps in games are going to be playing this weekend. I think you hit most of them right there on your run of the rookies.
Yeah. There's not a lot of stuff to watch for, but keep your eye out. Maybe you'll find a flyer late in the draft. And Tank Dell is one that I'm looking at in every draft, because if he's the number one in Houston, and I know Nico Collins is the number one, but if he's the red zone threat that CJ Stroud's looking for, might be a waiver late in the draft. I don't see him going anywhere. He's normally not even getting drafted.
Well, I will say this about a game that happened last night for the Colts. Anthony Richardson is going to be a very good streaming option this year, depending on matchups.
Yeah. And I mean, but then again, if we know anything about Colts preseasons, Sam Ellinger is a great streaming option every single year.
Mr. August.
Love Sam Ellinger. We're going to take a break. Keep those texts coming. 512-337-3776. You can just react to the Trey Lance news. You can tell us who you want a docu-series of, a la Johnny Manziel, a la the new Jerry Jones one that's coming out.
I'm boycotting the Jerry Jones one now.
It's 10 episodes. 10
episodes that won't hit my TV.
And Jimmy Johnson's not even going to be mentioned in it.
They wrote him out of Cowboys history.
Oh, they're going to be like, then there was a coach, and Jerry Jones won Super Bowls.
Jerry Jones won Super Bowls.
Yeah, they're not going to talk about him like at all.
No.
And then we know they're not going to talk about. But who would you like that? And what Texas game this season on the schedule is the most important game to you? Tell us that on the Specs text line, 512-337-3776. We're going to come back, wrap it up here for you. Pre-game for Dripping Springs versus Vandergrift Vipers. Vandergrift Vipers will be here on the Horn all season long. If pregame will now be at 7:15, 7:30 kickoff there in Dripping Springs.
Football is back.
High school football back. Friday Night Lights, baby. We'll be right back on the Sports Complex on the Horn, 1019 AM 1260, hornfm.com, and the Horn app. All right. Let's wrap things up here on the Sports Complex. Patrick Davis, at It's Patrick Davis. Jacob Standard, at It's Jacob Standard, to give us a follow.
Hooray.
Thanks to Jacob for joining me on a Friday afternoon. It's been a fun one.
It has been a good day.
Instead of me yelling at a wall for 2 hours, which is normal. But yes, if you missed the news a little bit earlier, Trey Lance is now a Dallas Cowboy. That is...
Yep.
Trey Lance is now a Dallas Cowboy. Did not see that hitting. That was not on my radar one bit.
I didn't even know we were interested.
Yeah. I didn't know you all were looking for a quarterback.
I didn't either.
I kept thinking y'all wanted a running back.
Me too. Maybe we make a move for a running back, but couldn't have that.
Wow. So, yeah, that is news. Only a 4th-round pick, so not terrible trade value that they got for him. We've been talking about the docuseries of who you'd like to see. I'm surprised there's not more love for Earl.
I would think he would
Come
be.
on. I have 2 Earl Campbell autographs in my office right now.
Yeah, exactly.
I have an Oilers autograph and a Texas Longhorns autograph because you need to represent both sides of Earl. But I was raised as a Longhorn fan and an Oilers fan, so Earl Campbell was the man.
Would that be a very interesting documentary, though?
Yeah, I feel like if you went back and talked to players about how good he was when he played, and you talk about stuff that he had to go through coming from Tyler, Texas, to,
Yeah, but that's not a good storyline, just having people just gush over him.
I know.
You need
It would be for
conflict.
me.
You need a character
There
arc.
is no. What conflict is there in Swamp Kings?
The one,
The media getting on Urban Meyer for being
the one they
an
skipped over.
alleged jerk.
The one they skipped over, the big one.
Yeah, they were like, and they had this tight end guy that played there too. And these guys got arrested. Oh, by the way, I got to go back. The text of the man who was at Romance Taylor's.
No
was
way.
at the
All
party.
right, here we go.
Oh, we did get it. It was in Little River Academy pasture party. Taylor showed up with chrome-plated pistols.
No way. I expected a bunch of different answers right there, not that one.
I
That
wasn't
was-
expecting chrome-plated pistols. I appreciate the text there.
That's the best one.
For if you wanted Romance Taylor to pick, we will have Chan. Yes, Harge is probably having a heart attack right now because the
Oh, man.
Cowboys got him. I'm going to have to check on him after the show.
I think I can still hear him. I think.
There's also I wanted Casey Stutter to have a docu-series because it would be freaking entertaining. I think Casey Stutter will be a fun one too.
Absolutely.
I think that's got to be part of the Longhorn Network though.
Longhorn
I don't know.
Films. Longhorn Films.
Yeah, if we just get that, and I'll tell you this: the food at the party, the premiere,
At the premiere? Yeah.
woo, food at the premiere is going to be good.
Can't put that one on network television though. Just knowing what I know about Casey.
We have Don't Matter. The Bears are still winning the Super Bowl. The Bears, Jake. The Bears. The Bears. I think it's one of your friends.
I would assume
Jacob,
so. Yeah.
someone who is.
That seems a little pointed, doesn't it?
The Bears win the Super Bowl. Good luck with that.
Yeah, I imagine.
Hey man, I've talked some mad trash about Mike McCarthy and this Cowboys team. This is getting ready for the season. I think they're better than the Bears.
I do too,
they're
and I
much
think I know
better.
exactly who that text came from. And yeah, no, I'm not even going to visit that subject.
What was Jarrah thinking? Trick plays. Now he's got another athlete that can get paid because the money earmarked for Parsons and CD. Yeah, I mean, look, so they can take his 5th-year option. I don't know how much his 5th-year option is actually for, but they could pick up his 5th-year option. But they may be saying, too, well, there's not money to sign Dak Prescott to this extension that he wants. Or maybe we're going to try and show that, we're going to play hardball with Dak Prescott. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, well, the tweet from Schefter says there's $5.3 million in 2024, all of which is guaranteed from Dallas.
All right. That's not too bad.
It's just throwing money in the trash these
Hey,
days.
just Roshan Johnson and baby. Roshan him. Put him in running back.
There we go.
Got it all figured out.
Trey Lance on a jet sweep.
We got to get out of here. 7:15 pregame. Vandergrift versus Dripping Springs. You can check it out right here on the Horn. For Jacob Standard, follow him at Jacob Standard. Myself, Patrick Davis, at It's Patrick Davis, because there's more Patrick Davises than Jacob Standards, apparently.
Which is weird. Jacob Standard is a pretty ordinary name.
We'll be back on Monday with more great Sports Complex. Until then, be kind to each other. Be safe out there. Keep your underwear clean. And we'll see you on Monday with more of the Sports Complex on the Horn.